Welcome to Nice and Blunt. I'm Adam Riancho, and it's Monday. As always, it's time to make some win-loss picks for next week's game action. And so far in week 5, we only have one game left. The Jags are hosting Kansas City, and I did take Kansas City tonight. However, on the week, boy, do I need this game to be correct just to go 500. I am 6-7 on the week. There were a lot of upsets that were a bit shocking. Shockingly, I'm actually one game better than y'all. I actually picked up a game with so far a losing record. Most of you in the audience polls were very inaccurate this week. So let's take a look where we disagreed and agreed. Most of these picks were the same. For instance, in LA, we were pretty much overwhelmingly on the side of the Rams. Most of you were incorrect. The Rams did not cover, let alone lost straight up. What was shocking is before the game kicked off, I went live for the start sit video, and the poll question was who you got against the spread, and 93% were on the Rams, minus 8.5. This game was the complete opposite of what everyone expected. So kudos to Mac Jones, very impressive victory. Even with Kendrick Bourne as his top receiver, Mac Jones found a way, remains undefeated in San Fran. In London, the Vikings did beat Cleveland, but that game was actually relatively close. The Browns led for most of the second half, but eventually Carson Wentz and the Vikings did come back. Good for Minnesota. They did not just win, but also covered the spread, a 4-point victory in London. In Indianapolis, the Colts took care of business. As expected, that game was a blowout, and they did win as we thought. In New Orleans, this was a game where we disagreed. I took the Saints, y'all took the Giants. You believe that the Chargers victory was legit, but the Saints traveling on the road had a lot of turnovers, very sloppy play, and perhaps they were underestimating their opponent and looking ahead to their Thursday night game against Philly. I do think they did not take this game as seriously as they should have. So the Giants did lose. Jackson Dart looked pretty abysmal in his second rookie game, and I was correct. This is where I picked up a game on y'all. This Saints call is why I had a better record than you guys. The Jets-Dallas game, as expected, Dallas did win, and I was a little worried about their offensive line injuries entering the game. I did downgrade Javonte and Dak Prescott in my rankings by a few spots. However, I still told you to start them, and they did show up. Dallas really looked good on offense. Their defense played a little bit better, but maybe that's just the Jets being that bad. The Jets defense is trash. They have a defensive coach, and it's been much worse than Robert Saleh's tenure in New York. Really rough season from the Jets. In Carolina, we also disagreed on this matchup. I did pick up another game with this call. This one was pretty close when it comes to the poll. Relatively, most of y'all disagreed. However, the majority was on the side of Miami. So Carolina has some level of home field advantage. The Dolphins defense is that bad. So I will acknowledge I did go to the Chargers game in person. So some of these early window matchups, I didn't watch the fourth quarter as I was in traffic going to the game. But from what I gather, the Dolphins just fell apart, and that's been the case all season. The Dolphins were not the side to pick. In Baltimore, though, this is where I lost a game, and it kind of cancels out the Dolphins pick. I took the Ravens, and most of you did take Houston. This game was a little bit closer, but not as close as Dolphins-Panthers, and the belief in Baltimore was just so ill-founded. You would think that the Texans' offense wouldn't be able to drop 40 points, but they did. The Ravens are just that bad. They're decimated by injuries, but they've looked like shit all season. Terrible coaching in Baltimore. Without Lamar, they have no spine. The Ravens fucking suck without Lamar. Even with him, they had a losing record this year. So terrible season for them. Hopefully they can turn it around, but I don't have much faith. I picked them to win the Super Bowl, and that looks like a terrible pick. So what do I know? The Texans did surprise me with this win. In Philly, we were all surprised, at least most of us were. I agreed with you. I did also take Philadelphia. I did think the Broncos would keep it close. I took Broncos against the spread, but they won straight up. I underestimated Sean Payton a little too much. So impressive win by Denver. Beating the Super Bowl champions is a big accomplishment, and it's the first loss for Philadelphia. We'll see what happens next week against the Giants in Seattle. This one was a toss-up in the poll, but most of y'all did agree with my prediction. Most of you did take Seattle coming off extra rest with the Bucs traveling without Bucky Irving, without Mike Evans. Really impressive that Baker was able to get the win. A last-minute field goal, but damn, what a good game. I wish I was at this game in person, but I was wrong. I took Seattle. I should not have underestimated Baker Mayfield. The game I did go to was Chargers versus Commanders, and honestly, the first half was actually pretty fun to watch as a Charger fan. Once Quentin Johnston fumbled, however, things changed tremendously. The QJ fumble deflated the crowd. It was almost like 70% in favor of Charger fans. It actually was a home field advantage for a while. We were praising and rooting for Quentin Johnston, and then literally 10 minutes later, booing him as he fumbled it up and cost them a big drive. So that was a big disappointment, Quentin Johnston fumbling, but that was kind of expected. Later in the game, though, right before halftime, they forced the Commanders to punt. Ladd McConkey brought it back for a touchdown. That was an amazing play, really fun to watch, but it was all negated by penalty. And then Jaden Daniels made him pay. He did score on that drive that was extended because of a penalty. So that play was a 10-point swing, and the momentum just completely faded at halftime. The Chargers received to start the game. I thought that was a weird call, and it did not work out for them. The Commanders took the lead in the second half and never looked back. Chargers offense was terrible. Herbert had a red zone turnover. Omarion Hampton got injured. The Chargers looked like garbage in the second half. It was not fun to be a Charger fan at that game. So good for Jaden Daniels. Even without Terry McLaurin, they got the win, but damn, it was sad to watch that happen. In Arizona, I'm glad I wasn't a Cardinals fan watching this happen. Holy shit, I saw what happened. Amari DiMercado. What a fumble. That one was awful. And then compounded by the interception that was then fumbled into their own end zone and recovered for a touchdown. What a way to choke away a game. The Titans get their first victory of the season, and they didn't deserve it, but they did find a way. Wow. What a brutal way to lose a football game. Sad for Arizona. We were all wrong. Most of us overwhelmingly took the Cardinals, who should have won. They would have been up, 27-6? Had that DiMercado fumble not happened? Damn, that was a sad turn of events for Arizona. So I guess it could be worse than watching the Chargers lose in person. You could have watched the Cardinals in person in Arizona. Last three games, though, the Lions took care of business against Cincinnati. That one was as expected. We agreed on that one as well. We also agreed on Buffalo beating the Patriots, and that didn't happen. But I did take New England against the spread. I thought the Patriots would keep it close, but not win straight up. The first half was so disgusting. So many turnovers and penalties. I kind of feel like the refs made sure the under cashed in the first half. The score at halftime was 6-3. The over-under on this game was 50. Something was off. The offenses were terrible in the first half. They looked good in the second half. But last game of the week, we are agreeing on Kansas City, which means I will pick up a game on y'all this week. Thankfully, it's about time. I've been reeling a little bit over the last few weeks, and on the season, y'all do have 6 more games correct than I do. You've been more accurate overall, but this week, that Saints pick was pretty clutch. So I am 42-33-1 on the season. Y'all are 48-28-1, and I don't feel too proud about my record, but it could be worse, and I will take a positive overall net week. I did pick up a game on the audience. Lastly, though, let's talk about my picks against the spread. And in weeks 3 and 4, I was abysmal, went 1-11 collectively. This week, it looks like I will have a winning week. At least as of this moment, that is the case. I did take Kansas City -3 tonight, and I think they could win by blowout, so I assume that one will hit. But so far, 3-2 guarantees a minimum of 500 in week 5, and the 2 games I got wrong were the Rams -5.5. At least from Monday until kickoff, this was the best point spread you could get on this game, and 93% of viewers on Thursday would have taken the Rams minus 8.5. So it felt like the wise pick. It just wasn't. The Niners won money line, and Rams minus 5.5 never had a chance to cash. Even in overtime, once the Niners kicked a field goal, there was no chance. There was no way the Rams could win by 6. So nope, that one was wrong. And then the Browns game, it felt like I had that one in the bag when I woke up and saw the score, but obviously in the final couple minutes, the Vikings score a touchdown. They win by 4 points. I took Cleveland plus 3.5, and once again, the London favorite does cover. The trends against the spread in London are overwhelmingly in favor of the favorites. It wasn't the case when the Vikings lost to Pittsburgh, but last week it was the case. The Vikings was the side. I took the Browns, but I was right on Denver covering. They won straight up. I was also right on New England covering. They won straight up as well. And then I was also right on the Colts minus 6.5. They won in a blowout. So hopefully I am right on Kansas City. If that's the case, I'll go 4-2. But so far with my 3-2 record on the season overall, I am 12-17. I'm hoping to pick up that extra game. 13-17 wouldn't be as bad, but we are below 500 after the last 2 weeks were just so bad. If I could remove weeks 3 and 4, I'd actually have a pretty solid record against the spread. Without weeks 3 and 4, I would be 11-6. But in those other 2 weeks, I went 1-11. We're trying to come back from weeks 3 and 4. Anyways, let's move on. Let's talk about this week's slate of games in week 6. And here are my win-loss picks for every game. We have the Giants hosting the Eagles on Thursday night. And I think after losing to Denver, there is no chance that the Eagles lose to the Giants. The Giants just lost to the Saints. Jackson Dart is not equipped to handle the Vic Fangio defense on short rest. Maybe the Giants completely rode off the Saints and just only prepared for this game on Thursday. It is in division against the Super Bowl champs. It's possible they are well prepared. They did win at home the week before against the Chargers, but the Eagles, I think, will bounce back. I don't expect Jalen Hurts to look that bad against a terrible Giants defense. The Giants can't really stop anyone on defense, and I just don't trust them. They need to be gifted some turnovers like they were with Herbert, and I don't expect that to happen. Give me Saquon to get the win against his former team. Even though the revenge narrative maybe doesn't carry as much weight as last year, I still trust Saquon to get the job done against the Giants. Give me Philadelphia over New York on Thursday. In London on Sunday morning, we have the Jets hosting Denver, and I believe the Broncos are traveling to London straight from Philadelphia. If that is the case, then jet lag is not a factor at all, and the Jets may be at a disadvantage given they're probably arriving after Denver is. So I was never going to take the Jets, but now I think Denver can win by 30 points against New York. I think it'll look like that Bengals game where the Broncos defense really plays well and the offense has no chance at being stopped. Give me Denver in a blowout over the Jets. I have no faith in Aaron Glenn's defense. The Jets defense fucking sucks. Give me Denver overwhelmingly over Justin Fields. In Indianapolis, this will be an interesting game, and I will assume the Colts win. I think the Colts are far, far superior than Arizona. However, I do believe the way that the Cardinals lost is going to really carry over into this game. Either they're completely demoralized and they don't show a single ounce of fight in them, or it's the complete opposite and they start off with their hair on fire and take an early lead at halftime. It'll look like they're owning the game, but I don't think it'll hold all 4 quarters. I trust that Jonathan Taylor will play very well. I think Arizona starts off red hot. I think they have the lead in this game, but I do think Indy will come back and get the W. I believe the Colts will get the win, but I think this game will be closer than most people assume after the Cardinals just lost to Tennessee. I don't think they're as bad as that loss would suggest. In Miami, this game actually feels a bit closer than I would have expected. The Chargers go to the East Coast to take on the Dolphins, and last time they went to the East Coast, it was against Jackson Dart. We thought it was a lock, and they lost. It's possible without Marion Hampton, their offense looks like shit. But I think the Dolphins defense is just that bad. I trust Justin Herbert. He was drafted behind Tua, and whenever these two teams play, Herbert does play well. I think Harbaugh will use that narrative and come back and win. I think last week was pretty demoralizing. They lost to the Giants. Can they go 0-3? I don't think so. This game is very important. Pretty much a critical victory. Very much a must win. I think they get the job done. I think Jim Harbaugh's defense will step up. Their defense has been terrible against the run the last 2 games. I think they'll be better, but I can't say I feel totally confident about it. I would have about 2 days ago, and now I am wavering just a little bit. I think it's a close game. The fact it's the early window, traveling across country. The Chargers have already had a lot of road trips. They went to Brazil. They went to Las Vegas the week after that. Then they went home. Then they traveled to the Giants Stadium. Then they came back home. Then they're going to Florida to play the Dolphins. A lot of travel will probably be their kryptonite this year. I am worried about the Chargers, but it'll compound and show itself later in the season. I think even without Hampton, the Chargers can beat Miami. Give me LA with the W. I'm not going to completely give up on my team. Herbert should win against Tua. In New Orleans, the Saints are hosting the Patriots, coming off their first win of Spencer Rattler's career. And the Patriots just beat Josh Allen. I'm definitely taking New England to get the job done. The Saints, I just don't think will have the answers on offense. They don't have enough firepower. And I think the Patriots defense will step up. Christian Gonzalez can limit Chris Olave. And I don't think Kamara moves the needle enough. The Patriots should play well. They have a lot of confidence after last week's game. They will beat the bad teams that they should. In my opinion, my preseason take was the Patriots are this year's Chargers. They have a very good schedule, and I think with their new coach, they will get the job done when they should. They'll beat bad teams. The bottom feeders of the league will not have a chance. So a team like New Orleans, they will take care of business. The Patriots win, and I think the Patriots are a decent bet to not just be a wildcard team, but have the number 5 seed. Their schedule's super, super easy rest of season. They should lock up at least 10 wins. I think their final record will be 11-6 when it's all said and done. Love the Patriots rest of season. In Pittsburgh, I want to give credit to Aaron Rodgers. I've been underestimating him, and he deserves some credit. The Steelers have looked very good and very competent on offense. He rarely turns it over, and their defense plays well enough where you don't need more than 25 points in order to win a game. So I definitely think they can beat Cleveland. They're coming off a bye, and I think Jalen Warren comes back. I do not trust Dylan Gabriel against Mike Tomlin's defense coming off a bye. 100% I will take Pittsburgh. It's probably like a 24-10 type of game. I would expect Pittsburgh to win pretty convincingly, but in division, you never know. The Browns do have a good defense, and they have beaten Pittsburgh in the past, but I will take Pittsburgh to win. I trust Rodgers not to turn it over too many times. In Carolina, the Panthers have played well at home since that Jags loss where weather was a factor. Maybe they do have a good winning streak going for them at home. The Cowboys don't have a defense, but their offense looks great. Even without CeeDee Lamb, they've been very effective. But I think they're probably going to go 500 without CeeDee Lamb rather than undefeated. And I know a tie is in there, but I think a loss is due for them. Typically, the Cowboys play much better at home than on the road. And last year, one of the main reasons why they beat Carolina was their pass rush. Without Micah Parsons, it's not the same equation. I think Carolina can pull the upset, especially given they have Rico Dowdle looking amazing. It's a revenge spot for Rico Dowdle. I think he really steps up. I think Carolina's defense plays well enough to hold Dallas under 30 points, and the Cowboys defense almost never gives up less than 30. So I will take Carolina. I think they're a much better team than the Jets. I will take Bryce Young in an upset over Dak Prescott. I trust the Panthers just enough on defense. They will step up. On offense, they'll carry their weight. I think Ted McMillan has a breakout game. In Jacksonville, the Jaguars are hosting Seattle, and the Seahawks coming off a tough loss, might be kind of banged up. The Bucs play very physical football. They have to travel all the way across country. Other than going to Miami, this is the most flight time you could ask for on a road trip. So not an ideal position. The Jags will be staying home after the Chiefs game. And I think I've seen enough from the Jags defense to consider them a viable upset candidate. Odds are the Seahawks are the better team. The Seahawks have a better shot at making the playoffs. But I think I've seen enough from the Jaguars where if they get lucky in the turnover department, they can swing the momentum heavily and not let go. Travis Etienne has looked pretty good, and I think they can stop the run effectively, where time of possession is not going to be out of their favor. Give me Jacksonville in an upset. I'm not picking them against Kansas City, but I think they can be on equal footing against Seattle in their home stadium in the early time window. I will take the Jags to take an upset. I don't feel great about it, but I think it's possible, and I think it'll happen. I'm also trying to pick up a game on y'all, and I assume the majority of the poll will be on the side of Seattle. I think it's a true coin flip. Vegas has this as a pick'em as well, and I believe the Jags can win at home. In a close, low-scoring game, give me Jacksonville over Seattle. In Baltimore, the Ravens have no shot against the Rams. The Rams lost to San Francisco, and Sean McVay is going to be coaching their ass off. They will come out hot, and they will never take their foot off the gas. This will be a blowout for the ages, potentially a 50-3 game. I think they completely shut out the opponent. A potential 0 on the board from Baltimore is possible in this one. I have no faith in Cooper Rush. Matt Stafford definitely gets the dub. In Las Vegas, the Raiders are trash, but they take on another bottom feeder in Tennessee, who just got their first win. Maybe they're feeling confident with a fluke victory. I don't know if I trust them. There were some really close calls there. Multiple fumbles were a factor, and you're not going to get gifted one touchdown where you fall on it in the end zone after you threw an interception, and then the other fumble that takes 7 points off of the board. Genty is not going to fumble through the end zone, and I don't trust the Titans' run defense. So even though I have no faith in Geno Smith, I prefer Cam Ward by a lot. I do not trust the Titans' defense, and I think Genty has another breakout game, so to speak. He already had one, but I think again at home, Genty plays really well and does get the victory. It's going to be on the back of Genty, but I will take Las Vegas reluctantly over Tennessee. This game is a true toss-up game I don't want to watch. Really ugly battle. I kind of want to take Cam Ward, but I just don't believe it. I will go Genty over the Titans. The way they won last week is not repeatable, in my opinion. In Green Bay, the Packers host the Bengals, and the only question in my view is, will the Packers cover? Because the point spread is minus 14.5 on FanDuel, and I think it's going to be going up. I think most people are going to take Green Bay to cover the spread, but maybe Jamar Chase can keep it close, but not close enough. At least straight up, I will 100% take the Green Bay Packers. Coming off a bye, I think Matthew Golden, the rookie first-round wide receiver, will have a breakout game. The Bengals will have no answer. Give me Green Bay over Cincinnati. In Tampa, really interesting game here. Baker takes on Mac Jones, most likely. It sounds like Purdy and Kittle are going to be inactive for week 6. But I do think Ricky Pearsall and Juwan Jennings will probably come back. At least one of them. I think Pearsall will be healthy enough. They get extra rest off the Thursday game, and they need it. They are very banged up, but they've played really well, and I don't want to continue to underestimate them. But to underestimate Baker Mayfield feels very unwise. I'm going to take Baker over Mac Jones. They're playing at home, and they've just played so well. Last week, the Seahawks had extra rest, and it meant nothing. Tampa was still able to find a way, even without Bucky Irving. There's also a chance that Mike Evans returns for this game. If he does, I think it's definitely a lock in favor of the Bucs. I will go Tampa, but I think this game is actually very close. I think it's a bit more of a coin flip. The Christian McCaffrey Niners are still capable of winning a Super Bowl. At least they're a contender as long as McCaffrey is healthy. Once Kittle comes back, their offense should be able to drop 30 like clockwork. But in this game, a little more defense. I will take the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 23-21. In Kansas City, Mahomes takes on Goff, and Goff is undefeated against the Chiefs. And although they don't play him very often, I don't think that's going to continue. I think at some point, Mahomes will get the best of Goff. And I just don't really trust the Lions defense. I've seen enough from the Chiefs offense to know that they can drop 40 if they need to. So odds are this game turns into a shootout. And I think in the Chiefs stadium, they have the advantage. I think it's going to be a little too loud for Goff to keep his composure. Goff does not play as well on the road outdoors. And without Ben Johnson, this will be like one of the first real big tests for them since the Green Bay Packers game. The Ravens game we thought was convincing enough that they were legit, but the Ravens just look so bad. I don't know how much I buy into the Lions winning that game. And Jared Goff didn't have to do much. It was mainly on the back of Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs. So if the Chiefs can stop the run, I don't trust Goff to overcome all of the adversity. I'm going to take Kansas City. Even though Mahomes has never beaten Goff, there's always a time for that to change. Give me Chiefs over Lions. I'm going to trust Andy Reid in primetime. On Monday, we have another doubleheader between the Falcons and Bills and then the Commanders and Bears. Let's go to Atlanta, where I think the Falcons can pull the upset. We just saw it happen with the Patriots. They won where I didn't expect them to. And the Bills have looked really vulnerable on offense this season. They almost lost to Baltimore, which at this point looks like a terrible victory, not impressive at all over the Ravens. And then they did shut out the Jets, but the Jets are the only winless team. What does that matter? And then they almost lost to the Dolphins. The Tua Dolphins did give that game away with penalties and turnovers, so that wasn't a convincing win. And then they beat the Saints. Who the fuck cares about beating the Saints? So the Falcons are a legit playoff contender. I don't know if they're a Super Bowl team, but if the Falcons made the playoffs this year, I would not be surprised at all. And last time we saw Bijan Robinson in primetime, he completely dominated his opponent. I think that's going to factor in. I think time of possession will be in favor of Atlanta. So this game will be very close. I think similar to the Patriots victory, going to come down to a last-minute field goal. I will take Atlanta in the upset. They're coming off the bye, extra rest, and I think the receiving core is finally healthy. Both London and Mooney had been dealing with shoulder injuries, and I think they'll contribute enough in this game. A shootout on the back of Bijan Robinson. I will take the Falcons, but I don't feel great about it. Betting against Josh Allen is usually not that wise. But the Bills have a bye after this. I think they might be underestimating their opponent, might be checking out for their vacation plans. The Bills just haven't really been tested, and I don't think last week was enough of a wake-up call for them to have their shit completely in order. So I'm going to take an upset here. I know most of y'all will pick the Bills, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm trying to pick up some ground. I will go Atlanta. I think they can at least cover the spread, but I think they can win straight up as well. Not the wisest pick, but I am willing to roll the dice. Give me Atlanta money line over Buffalo. Lastly, in Washington, a very pivotal game for Chicago last year was against Washington, and it was kind of the same setup. Last year, the Bears went 4-2, had a bye week, and then faced off against the Commanders, and we all remember how that game ended. The Hail Mary that sealed their fate after that loss versus Washington. They lost 10 in a row after the bye. They were 4-2. And then 4-12. So this could be a similar pivot point for the Bears season, but I think emotionally with the entire bye to think about it, if they don't win this game, it could really spiral in the wrong direction. So I don't want to bet against Jaden Daniels, but I think this is a true must win for Chicago and Ben Johnson. If they don't, I could see them collapse just like last year. So I think they'll step up. I think they're going to be better on defense, at least for every single play. And I think their offense is going to be way, way better than last year. After all, they should have beat Washington last season, but they didn't. And this year, I think they get the job done. I think Caleb Williams will beat Jaden Daniels on Monday night. But boy, I'm taking the Falcons and Bears to win straight up. That feels really, really stupid, but I am just dumb enough to do it. I am willing to fall on the sword and take the underdogs in both games. Give me Atlanta on Monday and Chicago as well to win straight up. And we do have two teams on bye. The Vikings and Texans are inactive this week. Those are the 15 games in week 6. Here are my win-loss picks for each of them. The Giants are going to lose to the Eagles. There's no way they can beat the Super Bowl champions after losing to the Saints. Not going to happen. And then the Jets have no chance. The Broncos in London will put on a masterclass. Bo Nix gets some European fans. The Broncos beat the Jets. In Indianapolis, I think the Cardinals start off red hot, but lose steam. The Colts come back to win on the back of Jonathan Taylor. A fourth quarter comeback victory for Indianapolis. In Miami, a bit of a closer game, but I think the Chargers will also come back to win. At some point, Herbert is going to stop turning it over, and their defense will step up. I don't trust the Dolphins enough. give me the Chargers in Miami to get the win. In New Orleans, the Saints are not going to win 2 in a row. Give me the Patriots to get the job done over the Saints. And then in Pittsburgh, in division, the Steelers defense off a bye. Mike Tomlin will own the rookie quarterback. Dylan Gabriel has no shot against the Steelers. In Carolina, I do not trust the Cowboys defense, and I think the Cardinals offense will be good enough. Give me the Panthers in Carolina over the Cowboys. In Jacksonville, I'm going to call upset. I'll take Trevor Lawrence and Travis Etienne over Sam Darnold. The Seahawks kryptonite is Florida. In Baltimore, the Ravens have no chance. Sean McVay will completely dominate, potentially 40-0 over the Ravens. The Rams win in a blowout. And then in Las Vegas, I'm going to trust Ashton Genty, but I don't feel good about it. Cam Ward's the better quarterback, but I trust Genty against the Titans. In Green Bay, the Packers win by probably 3 touchdowns. I think they will cover the 14-point spread. In Tampa, I'm going to take the Bucs. Hard to bet against Baker. He's just too good to stop, and I don't trust Mac Jones and some injuries. If they had Kittle, I'd go San Fran, but they don't. Give me the Bucs at home. In Kansas City, I'm going to take Andy Reid and Mahomes at home as well. Mahomes gets his first win against Jared Goff. In Atlanta on Monday, I'm going to take the Falcons over the Bills. The Bills get the full wake-up call with 2 straight losses. Going into the bye, they'll look much better after that point. And then in Washington, I think the Chicago Bears get some redemption. So much emotion from last year's loss. I think they exercise the demons. Give me Chicago over the Commanders on Monday night. The Vikings and Texans are on bye. So those are my picks for week 6. And as always, I also give you 6 picks against the spread. And while I am below 500 on the season, it was really just weeks 3 and 4 where I was just so bad. So let's try and get another winning week under our belt. I'm going to take 2 heavy favorites. I'm going to take the Rams minus 7.5. I have no confidence in the Ravens defense. I expect this line to increase over the week. And I will take LA minus 7.5. I think they easily win by 10 plus points. In London, a neutral field, I'm definitely going to take the Broncos. Minus 7 is a bit much, but against the Jets, their defense can't stop anyone. I'm going to take Denver. It'll look a lot like that Bengals game. The Broncos should win by at least a full touchdown. In Kansas City, I'm also going to take a favorite, but this game, according to Vegas, is a pick'em, and I think the Chiefs will win, and I think they'll win by about a field goal. I think Harrison Butker at the buzzer will kick a field goal. Maybe this game goes into overtime, but I think the Chiefs win. I will take Kansas City minus 1.5. I'm not going to shy away. The Lions getting points, I think, is where Vegas wants you to put your money. I will take Kansas City minus 1.5. I think they'll win by at least 2 points. In Tampa, though, I'm not going to bet against Baker to lose, but I think this game is very close, and I could see an upset straight up. So I will take San Fran plus 3. I've been underestimating them for quite a while, and I think it's about time I stop doing that. So as long as they have McCaffrey, they can always keep it close. And with extra rest, the Bucs with a lot of travel, I think they could just win this game straight up. But I at least think they win against the spread. I'll take San Fran plus 3 on the road. It feels like that game should be a 1.5 point pick'em as well. In Washington, though, I believe the Bears will get the dub, so I'll take Chicago plus 4.5. I think they not just cover, but win straight up. So I'll put my money where my mouth is. I'll take Caleb Williams in primetime on Monday to not just cover, but get the win. In Indianapolis, I expect Arizona to start off this game really red hot, and I don't think they're going to fumble it away like they did last week. Maybe they're just that bad, but I think they get the lead, and then the Colts take it back. I don't think the Colts win by a full touchdown. So 5.5 is a pretty big number. I will take Arizona to cover, but not win straight up. So these are my picks against the spread. The Rams will cover 7.5 points. So will the Broncos by 7. I also think the Chiefs will cover 1.5. And then the Niners may not win, but if they do, getting plus 3, I think, is the side. I think they'll keep it to within a field goal. At worst, I think this is a push. I'll take the Niners getting points. In Washington, though, I'll take the Bears getting points as well. And then even though I don't think the Cardinals win, I think it's a closer game than Vegas predicts. I'll take Arizona plus 5.5. Those are my win-loss picks for week 6. And if you enjoyed, hit that like button, and subscribe to the channel for more content like this. I'll see you next time. My name is Adam Riancho, and if you would like to contribute to next week's video, answer the polls on my page. If you scroll over to the posts tab, you'll find every poll for every matchup. See what the audience believes will happen. So that's it for me. My name's Adam Riancho. I'll see you next time. Thank you for watching. Nice and blunt.